How did you turn your life around? Stopped caring about things I can't control and put all my energy into the things I can. It sounds hard, but there's actually a lot you can control, and that doesn't leave much room for the other shit. I want to start doing this too. Can you share examples? It's best to start with your habits and your surroundings. Every week set aside time to clean up. My rule is if I would be embarrassed to show an area I live in to someone, I should take time to make it presentable. You'll feel accomplished, proud, and start building generally good habits that can be used at home and out of home. Set aside some time to exercise, like run, some weightlifting, jogging, meditation. Something physical that you can be happy to do at the same time. It has great effects mentally and physically, and you'll generally feel more confident. I also try to remove bad things out of my life I frankly don't have good self-control over. Junk food, alcohol, smoking, etc. I'll buy a 6-pack of beer every couple of weeks and no more sodas, chips, etc. Put good in, get good out. These are all things I can control and work for me to live a happier life. I got injured in a car accident, rear-ended. Lost my business, and my wife of 19 years eventually left for another man, leaving behind a 17-year-old daughter and 2-year-old son. No job, no car, no money, 2 kids and $2,000 a month in rent coming due. 2 days after she left, I took my real estate license test. I passed. I had planned to surprise her but had hid that I was studying in case I failed. Either way, it wasn't enough, and I ended up taking a job at Amazon. I worked a graveyard shift while my daughter stayed home with my son. I also did open houses on the weekend in hopes someone would walk in unrepresented. It still wasn't enough, so I signed up to drive Uber and Lyft. I had been able to pick up a decent vehicle from a family member for cheap, and I was in business. I switched my graveyard shift to a day shift and started driving through the nights. The money was alright, but I realized I could make a little more if I switched from Amazon to another large company in the area. So I did. I did that for about a year. Things were okay. I was making good money, and then Coldwell Banker fired me. I didn't think Coldwell fired anyone as long as they were paying their dues. I had never sold a house, so all it meant was I needed to switch to another broker. Turns out that was a blessing in disguise. A friend called on my way to sign with Keller Williams and convinced me to sign with a temp agency. I was skeptical, but what did I have to lose? The first and second day I was placed with Toll Brothers. It was all right, and I could see myself doing that. On the third day I was sent to a local developer, and my world was changed. The broker of record and the local developer took me under their wing. After a few months they hired me away from my temp broker, gave me a salary and commissions, and provided me with an opportunity to change my kids' lives forever. I was able to go from working 4 jobs to just 1, and I have learned more about myself than I could have ever imagined possible. It's been 3.5 long years, but I wouldn't change a thing if I could. When I was a teenager I was homeless. A lot of places wouldn't hire me because I had no experience or interview clothes. I went to the Board of Education and begged the HR lady to give me a chance at any job. I told her I'd scrub the school with a toothbrush if they paid me. They made me a general sub for clerical. I took a call for one of the bad neighborhood schools that some others turned down. Walked across town to get there every day. I had to start walking at 4:30 a.m. to be on time. I wore dress clothes from a church mission that were way too big, but I did my best. After 4 months they gave me a long-term position, then a permanent one with benefits. I saved up enough for an apartment. Finding a landlord okay with renting to an 18-year-old homeless girl was hard, and started college. I haven't been homeless a day since in the last 15 years. I even have a house now. Quit a job that wasn't making me happy. Went back to college. Just literally handed in my notice at my shitty office job during a global pandemic tanking economy to go back to college this September. I'm 29 and scared shitless. This has given me hope. Reading more and using social media less. I'm almost at the point where I can just delete Reddit. Almost. Reddit can be a good support system. Just don't argue in useless threads. That's the biggest trap in toxic social media. I quit drinking when I was 24, went back to college when I was 26, and graduated at 29. I decided to stop comparing myself to my brother and try to focus on the improvable. God, I wish I could do that. I'm the big brother, I should have my shit together. I have to disagree with you. I figured recently that nobody really has their shit together at any age. Some people are just better at pretending. You got this, king. Well, maybe not in some area, but he is doing much better than me. He has a stable job which he makes quite a bit of money. He bought his house and he is in the process of buying a 6-apartment building. Paid off my debts slowly but surely and worked my ass off to buy a house. Took years, but it was worth it. Getting there myself. The debt part anyway. Would be faster if I wasn't paying my way through grad school, but I should be debt-free with a master's degree in 2 years. Realized there was more to life than partying and waking up hungover all the time. Went to an army psychiatrist who focuses on PTSD. Can't upvote this enough. I'm glad you got the help you need. Moving out of my parents' house. I was living with my parents, which is very common thing in India, until end of my med school. I've been in my comfort zone all my life and had everything I need. That led to depression and I wanted to live by myself and to get out of my bubble. Now I can't say I figured it all, but I definitely feel better. This seems to be an Indian thing. I'm in South Africa, but my parents want me to get married first before moving out. But like you, I'm craving independence. So tired of answering to other people. Also, I don't want to get married and let that be my first experience of living alone. My wife would think I'm useless. My parents also insist I get married before moving out. I live in the US, but my parents are from Bangladesh. Being a woman doesn't help either. Joke's on them, I'm moving out by next summer whether they like it or not. Decided it's okay to put yourself first no matter what. I don't mean that go ahead and cheat and lie for your benefits. For example, I was seeing this toxic person for some time and I was the one always compromising and making efforts. When things finally ended, I chose to cut off all contact from that person while they wanted to remain in touch for support or validation. I felt bad and selfish while doing it, but starting to feel better about myself now that that person is out of my life. You need to be selfish if the other person is being selfish too. Gave Facebook, TikTok, etc. a week off. Then 2 weeks. Then never went back. But not Reddit lol. Reddit is so different for me. I don't actually know anyone here in real life. So there's no pressure. I can follow whatever I want and my feed is filled with puppies and kittens and ducks and cows and it makes me so happy. And there's actual interesting things, discussions to delve into. I heavily reduced sugar when I was 21 and started resistance training. 2 years later and I am feeling the best I have ever felt. Have so much energy and self-confidence because I actually like the way I look now. Clothes fit so much better as well. I've been trying to do this. It's been difficult, because my grandmother, who I currently live with, keeps a lot of junk food in the house, and not as many fruits and vegetables. That would be really difficult. Having sugar in the house is just so dangerous. It's too easy. A temptation. Sugar, I swear, is more addictive than some illicit narcotics out there. It took me a while to break up with sugar. I haven't cut it out completely, that's almost impossible, but I really have started being mindful and reading nutrition labels before buying anything. I get most of my sugar from fruit now, smiley face. Realizing I don't have to act like someone I am not just to be liked by everyone. Changed my life choices and it made me a much happier man. I wish I've done it sooner and not in my late 20s. So much wasted time. I grew up in South Florida during the beginning of the opioid craziness. From 2006 to 2011 things got pretty bad. I'm 2011, I sold my last possession. My car for $800, packed 2 suitcases and bought a bus ticket to Denver. Never been to Denver. Didn't know anyone there, but weed was starting to be legal and I didn't want to miss out. I detoxed on the bus going from Florida to Colorado. Do not recommend. I got lucky and ended up sitting next to a guy that was a grower and needed help in his garden. I didn't know it at the time, but on the Greyhound he said I had an 8-hour job interview. Got to Denver and he really helped me get established. Within 2 months I was sleeping on his couch and learning how to grow. Haven't touched a painkiller since I got on that bus almost 9.5 years ago, and now I'm married. Homeowner. Decent car. and working my dream job in the cannabis industry. It's not for everyone. But I literally went from homeless sticking needles in my arm to living a life better than I could have ever imagined. Went to the gym. It helped me break out of OCD-induced psychosis and brought me back to reality, and have been going every day since. Had to replace it with exercising in the park during the peak of COVID though. After being laid off from my last factory job, I suddenly found myself on the streets of Toronto in the early 1990s with a grade 9 education. No money, no friends, no job references, and not really any family. So what did I do? Found an unbelievably dirty, crappy crawlspace basement apartment. Applied for welfare. Stopped drinking and smoking, and anything else unhealthy. Got a gym membership and went 4 hours a day. Jogged 5 miles every morning, weather permitting. Enrolled in an adult high school. Ignored everyone and everything that would be a distraction. Got my high school diploma with honors in 2 years. Applied for university. Got in. Moved to a different city and spent 4 years getting my BA Hun in philosophy because I like to think and solve problems. Applied to a graduate program. And spent the next 10 years getting my MA and my PhD. Then spent the next several years as a professor making good money and having lots of fun. Won't say how things are going now because I got cursed with poor health etc. And so am no longer working. I'll just say that I am happy now and know that I would have ended up either dead or in jail if I hadn't done what I did all those years ago. Sooner or later everyone has got to take their life seriously.